Hello, my name is Dr. Tim Westley. In 2016, I had both the honor and the privilege of being able to accompany our Border Patrol agents on a tour of our border. And this took place in the Rio Grande Valley in McAllen, Texas. And while on that tour and being able to inquire of them, I found out about some of their greatest concerns, some of their greatest challenges, some of their greatest needs. And in my assessment afterwards, I was able to come up with some things that I thought would be some great solutions in connection with our conversation, etc. One of those solutions that I was able to assess was going to be needed was making sure that we had some workers, someone to process those people that were apprehended to free our agents. At that time, we had a couple of hundred agents that were taking countless hours in order to process people instead of being able to be boots on the ground and use all of the great training that they have out in the field. And so one of the suggestions I came up with was that we can have some lower level GS workers that were simply trained to process. This would free our agents to go out and do their jobs. Well, of course, November 2016 gets here, it's election time, and I came up short. But this was so important to me that December of 2016, before my opponent was ever sworn into office in January of 2017, I reached out to another border congressman, Congressman Henry Cuellar, and I sent him a letter in December of 2016. And what I highlighted was this one specific thing. If we can get some lower level GS workers, if we can have authority to do that so that they can free our agents up, this would be so instrumental in us securing our borders and making sure our boots on the ground were available to do their jobs. Well, that letter went forward. I didn't hear anything back as far as my suggestion, but I never quit. I never stopped the fight.
But also Border Patrol, what are some of the issues that they've perhaps mentioned to you that they need?
Right off, keep in mind, our Border Patrol agents, they're taking an abundant amount of time just to train our agents. So what we're seeing, we're having trained agents that's having to take a ton of time just to process people that they're catching on the border that's coming in illegally. And so what's taking place, we're having an upwards of 200 agents at any given time that's processing. We're talking about highly trained Border Patrol agents, and they're taking, if they're doing that efficiently, it's going to take them about 2 hours to process an individual. And so they're doing processing when they could be all actually been on the field, in the field doing their job. In addition to that, these agents are challenged with having to do babysitting duty. Can you imagine this for a moment? An agent has waited, in some cases 18 months in order to join this agency. And then once they've been trained, they're having to literally babysit. And so these things, we want to relieve these agents of doing that. So one of my goals is to make sure that we can get some low-level GS workers in there that's going to be cleared, of course, have the proper clearance to at least process so that we can have more boots on the ground that we already have.
Meanwhile, U.S. Customs and Border Protection creating new civilian jobs to help handle the influx of migrants along our border. The job description notes those hired will help support Border Patrol agents with humanitarian care and intake of processing detainees, including transporting them to proceedings and medical facilities, as well as logging the status of welfare checks. BP officials say adding these positions will help agents go out and do their jobs on the front lines. Positions are not only open here in the Rio Grande Valley sector, but also in El Paso and Yuma sector.
Here we are, December of 2019, 3 years later, and we finally get an announcement that our agents will have the support they need by way of border processing coordinators. And they're going to be lower level GS workers, just like Dr. Tim Westley was requesting, and the thing that I put out the most. They're going to be lower level GS workers, and they're going to indeed free our Border Patrol agents up so that many more of them can get back out into the field and do their jobs. So the thing I want you to think about, imagine for just a moment, if I, a solutions-based candidate, imagine if I were elected in 2016. Imagine how much more work I could have gotten done over the last 3 years. Well, we can't go back, but we do see the solutions that I've suggested are moving forward, and they're going to be able to make a difference. We can move forward. Remember, alone we may fail, but together we rise.